AWS global outrage largely resolved. AWS experienced a major disruption that knocked many global websites and apps offline, including big names like Signal, Coinbase and Robinhood. The company said it largely recovered but it is still working to restore full service and investigating the root cause. Sir, I just want to know, because you represent this generation, should world think for the alternative? Because today's world is a digital world, today's world is a web based world, today's world is connectivity's world. So if interruption or disruption goes in this communication system, everything gonna be stopped.
Well, we understand that technology is a mean for convenience for humanistic life and of course in daily activities. But this AWS disruption, it happened on early 20th October and it started from the US East 1 region, Northern Virginia. So this is when we understood that outage was happening, and it has of course affected applications such as Snapchat, a popular social media website, Fortnite, a popular gaming platform, Duolingo, a popular translation application, Canva, a popular video editing tool, and of course Signal, a popular communications tool. These are platforms that people use on a daily basis, whether to communicate, whether to conduct business. And of course one comes without mentioning that on various previous shows on international affairs, we've had Norman Floyd Barnes, who used to join through us through Zoom. He has not been being able to do so for the last 2 days, and I believe that this disruption is a matter that has caused this matter. But according to various news agencies, that the post-mortem from AWS, they will be giving a published detailed report reviewing the technical details on why this had happened. And of course, we must look at regulation. To some extent, people are more dependent on technology more than ever before, and the rise of AI is one of those aspects. Just to add on to the fact that even when you scroll Facebook on these modern times, we see content that is made with AI, so contents which is fake or contents that has not happened in reality. So once again, we must understand what realm technology belongs to and whether or not it is allowing us to achieve a higher convenience and efficiency than before.
Sir, as you raised regarding the AI, recently so many very significant AI videos came from different personality like Chuck Schumer. His audio has been copied, then an AI video has come to the internet, and it became a huge subject to discuss within the American people, because the shutdown is going on, and today is a 22nd day of shutdown. Federal workers are going to be fired. And yesterday, one AI video has been posted by Donald Trump himself from his X handle. He is with a crown and he is telling that this is the King Donald Trump. This is confusing. So, do you think AI will help us in our work, in our progress, in our development, or AI will mislead the generations, the people, and giving the misleading message to the people of the world?
This is to some extent political stuntmanship. Earlier on, it was not just Donald Trump wearing a crown claiming that he's king. When the shutdown happened in initial days, I was in America and I was following what was going on. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries were made goons. Hakeem Jeffries was seen wearing a sombrero playing music on a video that was made by AI from Donald Trump's Truth Social account, which was posted. So this is the maturity of politicians there, how they see an opposition, how they see the Democrats today. And it has got into its third week. People are slowly starting to feel the burden of living and going to work without the security of payment. We know that the food stamps program in America, they might run out, the provisions for elderly may run out, the public funding of various parks, various public places may be hampered. These are all the things that are affecting America on a daily basis. And if you want to look away from those who are working in the public sector in America or the governmental jobs, today there was a news where we know how much of tit for tat kind of comments have been made by Zoran Mamdani versus Donald Trump. And recent times Zoran says that he is ready to handle or tackle Donald Trump head to head. This comes as in Eric Adams had chosen to stay out of this electoral time for this mayorship. But One of the news that has affected New York City in large, it's a breaking news in America, that ICE agents are actively taking down street vendors who are catering to the public in New York City, especially in happening places in Lower Manhattan, Chinatown and Canal Street. I visited those places, and they're very touristy places with a vast immigrant population that offers cultures that are outside of America. So it does have some kind of cultural significance to the community there. But I don't see why there is need for ICE agent to block the streets using street blockers and create such a spectacle for the entire world to see. This comes in as the White House is busy building a ballroom, a grand ballroom inside the White House under the direction of Donald Trump. So the priorities, once again, yesterday I said to a question you asked whether or not what Donald Trump is doing, whether he is not being the people's president. And the more days that you put yourself out of this realm, it's going to be a dangerous time for Donald Trump in the upcoming midterm elections that our international correspondent in Washington, D.C., Norman Floyd Barnes, he always picks out this issue, and it is something to look forward to understand the plight of those working in governmental jobs in America.
Sir, you have seen the Donald Trump 1.0. Now you are witnessing Donald 2.0 almost 10 months. Still he has around 40 months in power. Do you think world is going to face nightmare of Donald Trump because he is creating so much of chaos around the globe? He is creating so much of chaos inside America. He is disrespecting and undermining democracy. He is disrespecting the American people even.
How far or so? Well, it was the American people who elected him back into this presidential seat. One cannot disagree that he does have some kind of sway over the American people at large to some extent, given the last election results and for the swing states that elected him into power. But the Democrats are facing quite the stringent administration. Currently, some are being arrested, some are being discussed upon, some are shown to see that they weren't actually doing governmental jobs. So these are quite the important factors in American politics. It is always Republican versus Democrats. One time it might be the Democrats who are in power, and the next term maybe the Republicans. But what is something that is missing out here is that America has intense sway over geopolitics as a whole. The market in America is quite lucrative for even countries like our own, Bangladesh. We have a huge RMG appeal in United States of America. And in my journeys, when I was there, I could see that a Made in Bangladesh label was readily available in outlet stores like Macy's and Neiman Marcus. So to my understanding, US President Donald Trump, his actions will definitely set forth a different time in American history. And we know that this president is not like other presidents that has represented America on a global stage. But since now, beforehand, there was this narco-trafficking drug issue from the south of America. But right now, he had named the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America. Yeah. That is the attitude, that is the way of thinking in that part of the world.
And he said Venezuela is a factory of drugs. Sir, you have been witnessed the outrage of New Yorkers this time, and you have seen the raising of Jahran Mamdani, a very young face, very talented face. He is welcoming everyone to come for debate, but Endukomo is still not showing his interest to face Jahran Mamdani. On the other side, Jahran Mamdani already challenged, as you said, that he is ready to face Donald Trump. What is your prediction on this election?
Well, the big apple remains in New York. New Yorkers are not just people who are ethnically American or ethnically Hispanic. It is a community in the 5 boroughs that include nationalities even from South Asia as well. There's a huge Bangladeshi and Pakistani and Indian community there, yes, which is thriving, and those who are doing jobs are from these ethnic backgrounds. Of course, this detainment of street vendors who are largely immigrant population in New York, this sets a new tone for the New York City. And of course, I'm sure that it happened so early that actors such as Zohran Mamdani has still not made a comment on this matter. but it will be following through. I'm sure that we'll be able to pick it out on tomorrow's show.
Sir, there are few unifying figure in Democratic Party like Barack Obama, like Hillary Clinton, Bill Gates, and some other unifying top leaders in Democrat Party, but still it is not visible that these unifying political figures are endorsing Zohran Mamdani. What is the reason you find behind this, the delay of endorsement?
I want to compare, given that you've asked me about Zohran Mamdani and what their election mayoral in the first primary mayoral, what their promise was to what they're going to do if they were elected as the mayor of New York City. And almost all the candidates, including Eric Adams, they have said that they would go visit Israel and talk to its leader. Where Zohran Mamdani said that I will not do such international tour. I will focus on the 5 boroughs that surround Manhattan, including Manhattan itself. So that is someone who the immigrant population can look forward to. But given that situation, we are yet to see what kind of it's coming up. Actually, the mayoral final is coming up. Who is going to be elected for the next mayor in New York City is quite so important. But once again, this fight between Washington DC and Donald Trump and or person like Zohran Mamdani in New York, these are internal rifts between a country's political hemisphere, which others will not take so lightly.
Right, sir. Here is the breaking news. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy begins prison term in France. Former President Nicolas Sarkozy has arrived at a prison in Paris to begin serving a 5-year sentence for criminal conspiracy tied of his 2007 election campaign allegedly financed by Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi. Sir, what is the lesson we get from this? He himself gone to the prison gate and he said, I'm willing to start my prison term today. And what is the message for the rest of the world that as former very powerful president like Nicolas Sarkozy is facing this kind of prison life?
Well, of course, this comes in that he has reportedly maintained close ties with Emmanuel Macron, who is the leader of France, and despite ideological differences, often consulted on diplomatic and European issues. Well, if you are seen to be trying to help a dictator, that this, of course, the law will catch up to you in some case or some extent, but just comes to show how far France is a civilized nation. Even though there has been a situation in France as of recent which undermines its security aspect, but it also shows that the legal system in France, he is someone who is putting himself in front of his trial, and he's someone who is turning himself in to serve his 5-year term. It's just to show that France is a very civilized community. But there are instances in France in which it has made sure of international shock, if you would call it. Napoleon Bonaparte's cousin's precious jewels were stolen earlier this week from the Louvre Museum, considered to be one of the most secure places on earth. It of course holds a famous painting of the Mona Lisa, which this time around was safe. Unfortunately, it wasn't stolen. And yeah, that's about it regarding Nicolas Sarkozy. Of course, he is now going to be serving his 5-year jail term, and right, people are definitely going to try to see. And even so, very recently, the newest Prime Minister also had tendered his resignation, which was stopped by Emmanuel Macron. We need to understand the political pressures of France as it is continuing on.
Sir, I want to go to, there is a news that new tensions are rising in Thailand-Cambodia border.
Right.
I want to draw the attention of our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Panto, who doesn't leave any single event happening in the world. I'm sure he can open these new tensions and new frontier in Southeast Asia, sir.
Well, if you are looking at Cambodia and Thailand, they do have a border dispute regarding a religious site that is nearby the border. Well, that is what the reason for going into war was. And of course, they do have border trade. But one of the things that took to the world media was one is imposing psychological warfare or psychological methods to scare one another. I will come to the story for our viewers. The Cambodian Human Rights Committee CHRC has formally accused Thailand of conducting psychological warfare-style broadcasts. Loud, ghost-like wailing sounds, aircraft engine noises at night directed into the Cambodian border villages, especially in the Prechan and Chok Che regions. So, this is a different kind of war front. We see a nation like Thailand is playing on loudspeakers the sounds of ghosts, the sounds of things that would incite fear amongst anyone those would be hearing them at night. This is a very new tactic, I would say, is a way of trying to create misdemeanor between the two sides, even though there is internationally backed ceasefire, especially by the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia. This is a very new frontier for confrontation between the two, and why it matters is that it's a non-conventional form of border harassment and psychological warfare that one is imposing on the other. Of course, we have not seen any similar instances in various war fronts. This would be the first, which is why I feel that it was significant to bring it on today's program.
Regarding the rare earth issue, it is still trending in the number 1, 2, 3 news in the Western medias, even in the Chinese medias.
Well, where to find that rare earths is because it is in demand. As I was telling even yesterday, that whatever it is in demand will definitely go up in price. These are economic terms that I'm using in order to explain to my viewers what rare earths are. These are minerals from the elements table which are important in manufacturing goods for technological development like supercomputers and those who are working behind the scenes behind the artificial intelligence.